To find the unit rate, you want to figure out what the cost or the number of whatever is per 1 unit. Okay, so a nice way to work with these is to use a ratio table. All right, ratio tables work very well when something is proportional. And if it has a unit rate, it is proportional. Sometimes that is helpful to know. Okay. If I bake cookies and I use 120 chocolate chips, and I use those 120 chocolate chips to bake 12 cookies, I want to know the number of chocolate chips per 1 cookie. So I'm going to set that up as 120 chocolate chips per 12 cookies. I can see here that 12 is a common factor of both of these numbers. So if I divide 120 by 12, that will give me to 10. And if I divide 12 by 12, that gets me 1. Therefore, I have 10 chocolate chips per cookie. Yum. All right, my next example has to do with using gasoline in a car on a road trip. So you go on a road trip, so I want to know the number of miles per gallon that I get on this road trip. I'm going to set this ratio table up, miles per gallon. We want to get to 1 gallon here. So I'm going to tell you that we traveled a total distance of on our road trip, 4,400 miles, and in those miles we used 200 gallons of gasoline. I want to get to 1, but I don't want to divide by 200 yet. That's too big of a number. I noticed that both of these have a common factor of 10 though. So I'm going to divide them both by 10, and this will get me 440 miles and 20 gallons. Okay, that's helpful. This is still divisible by 10, both of them again. So now I have 444 miles with 2 gallons. Okay, that's helpful also because now both of these numbers are divisible by 2, and I can now get to the unit rate, magic number of 1. 44 divided by 2 is 22. So I know that our mileage for this trip is 22 miles per gallon. That was a fun trip down math lane there. Okay, so the last example I want to give you is an example that you might find at the grocery store. So I want to know the cost per apple. So per 1 apple, we want to find the cost. So I'm going to set up my ratio, cost and apples. So I spent $3.75 at the grocery store, and I bought 5 pounds of apples. Let's find the cost per pound of apples. Okay, well, these numbers are both in decimals. So the only true factors here are 5 and 1. So I'm going to divide this by 5. This number here is also divisible by 5. It is 75 cents. So I know for 1 pound of apples, I know that my cost per 1 pound of apple is 75 cents.